All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the platform product sprint review. My name is Balázs Bézi. I'm supporting some of the platform teams as a Scrum Master, and welcome to the review. So we are planning this session to be around 1 hour long. And of course, depending on the questions. And as always, your feedback, your comments and questions are welcomed. And basically, we have a dedicated session at the very end of this presentation of this session dedicated for questions. So please keep in mind that at the end of this review, we are out of context. So please include the actual context you are referring to, the actual slide or the person or the product part, the review part that you are referring to when you are formalizing your questions. So it helps us to get into the context of that question. And if you have any comments, feedback, even with the format of this review or regarding the content of this review, please leave us comments in the chat, in the live chat below. So without further ado, I pass it on to our product owner, Maciek.
Hello, everyone. Thanks, Balázs.
Slideshow. Yeah.
Hi. Dear everyone, I would like to bring you some introduction to this product review call, and cover a bit of the agenda. So typically, as usual, we can expect some valuable updates from all of our platform teams, and the goals that were valid for last 2 weeks are as follows. So TenderDash was mainly focusing on backports of Tendermint, so to keep our consensus engine aligned with the upstream. And GrowthDB was heavily on database operations batching. SDK, JavaScript SDK was the team was focused on providing a patch to version 0.22. with some cool and valuable features that were built on top of version 23. However, they have been delivered straightforward to the master branch, so that's easy to take usage of. And finally, the platform protocol team had the goal of integrating platform with Dash Core version 0.18. And this was something that changed our initial plan that we made last 2 weeks, because just the core team got ready with it, and they are about to release 0.18 on mainnet really soon. So that's why it was something urgent that we needed to cover. However, you will be seeing a really nice demo performed by Ivan that will be treating about fees and how those are being calculated for particular operations that are, let's say, from the end-to-end perspective on platform service. So yeah, speaking about that, after it, obviously we'll have some Q&A session and a few words about next plans for all of the component teams related to platform project. And I guess that from that point we can hand the voice to Dima, who will represent the TenderDash team this time, and just enjoy.
Hello everyone. I'm Dmitry, software developer at TenderDash team. Well, today we have a quite small list of topics for a report, and first one is a backport Tendermint master branch for TenderDash version 0.9. Yeah, at this moment, the biggest task in our team is the backport. Since APCI++ or I would say we also call it like a same block execution feature. High is the highest priority for us, and we started working on this backport to catch up the changes. Basically, TenderMint team decided to postpone this release of the ABCI++, and almost all changes which they did already presented in the master branch, and we decided to just took them and worked with them for TenderDash. Probably we need to add something on top of it. We don't know so far, but yeah, we hope it should be enough for us. Well, next topic is V08 new minor version of V08 on a DevNet. Basically, platform team is working on integration, new version of TenderDash, sorry. And sometimes we do kind of changes, fix something or add something which we missed during the previous backport. And currently we released a new version for platform. And the last topic is research of withdrawal transaction. And Lukasz did some research on different approaches that can help us for this task. And actually, we already have a DIP for it. But so far, we don't have a consensus on a final requirement for this task. And we already scheduled a meeting for tomorrow to discuss the current and alternative solutions, which we can use for withdrawal transaction. So I'm done. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Pass it to Evgeny.
Hello.
Hello.
I present a batching feature that we resumed efforts on since the sprint began. And yeah, first, rationale. Without batching, we are limited to do single operation for a subtree in GrooveDB, and to reach atomicity, we need to start a transaction. Not to mention that batch is essentially a single operation to database, and we expect it to perform better. Benchmarks are in our to-do list though, so for now, let's take it as granted. First thing we accomplished is an ability to collect deferred write operations. Let me explain a bit. Before, internally, we opened a subtree to perform a key-value operation. Thus, we may end up in many writes, and we can do the same for many subtrees, and all things gone separately. And now, the subtrees are in a way of how data is stored and written, thus abstract over storage. We introduced another implementation that allows us to make each subtree act as usual, but eventually collect all operations as deferred ones into one batch and finally execute it in one commit. And the thing is done is merged, but that's not the end of story, because next we need to introduce this API to a GrooveDB, because previously it was just for storage abstraction, but now we need this for a whole library we are working on. And we added to GrooveDB existing operations like insert, delete, etc. Another one called apply, and this apply operation can take batch, and each batch operation consists of subtree path, key we are working with, and operation to do. Currently, we support only insert and delete. Others are insert if not exist or delete from bottom to up. There are things that we'll do next. And the tricky part is batch validation, which is currently in progress, because we're limited to data that is available before batch. Thus, so there is no intermediate state between batch beginning and end. We need to verify everything in advance. Because some subtrees might not exist before, we can check that operations in batch may be invalid if we insert something to subtree that does not exist. But the hard part is that these subtrees might actually become valid during the batch, because we can insert subtree A in the batch and insert a subtree AB, and this should be valid. And even more complex are deletions and overrides, because that might kill a subtree and do it recursively. So, and that it could be valid before, but became invalid during the batch. And yeah, mostly that's it. It's maybe mind-blowing, and that's why it takes some time to work through.
Yeah, to process.
Yeah, and to implement also.
Well,
Including tests.
we're very lucky to have you working on it. That's
Thank you.
I mean, it's all I'm thinking in my head right now is, thank God I'm not doing that. Thank God.
Actually, it's fun to do.
That's great. So I just wanted to add two things to explain two things you said. When you said we have insertions and deletions, and we don't yet have insert if not exists and delete bottom to top. I just want to explain what those two things are, just because our viewers might not understand. So insert if not exists is a little bit understandable. Like if the item doesn't already exist, then we insert it, otherwise we don't. And the delete bottom to up is a little bit more interesting. It's basically like if you have a subtree and you delete the element there, if there's nothing left in that subtree, it will delete the parent subtree, and it will do this. And then if you delete the parent subtree, and in that tree there's nothing left, then it will delete that one too. And this is very essential for our system, because sometimes we hold information at the very bottom. For example, just an item, and if that item is deleted and it has no other items next to it, then you have to delete up the tree for Dash Drive. Okay, so I just wanted to say that really quickly. We also had, this is not work that I worked on, but Wisdom worked on. Wisdom is taking a very needed holiday after finishing proofs. So I'll just say that he submitted his pull request, which included everything he showed on the last sprint review and a few more fixes. And that pull request is now open. Evgeny did review it. I have to review it. So I am going to review it this week, and then we'll have proofs v2 merged in. We are also going to write a dip, an explanation on our proof system for both our community and external developers to verify. So please look forward to that. Okay, we can move on.
Thank you very much. And I pass it on to Mikhail.
Hey everyone, I'm Mikhail from the SDK team, and on the last sprint we were working on pulling some changes from the V23 into master. We were stabilizing master build. We added some fixes from the V23, which is transaction history is now showed correctly as the JavaScript date object instead of milliseconds. We fixed some incorrect balance showing via registration of the identities, and also added some information about balances impact on the object of the transaction histories. Also, we pulled up the changes for the improvement of storage persistence and synchronization from the V23, which we were working on the previous sprint. So yeah, also we were working hard on reviewing documentation. We were reviewing SDK documentation and wallet documentation. We noticed a lot of inconsistencies in our documentations, and we listed it internally on some document. And yeah, we're gonna work on that to improve our documentations in the repository, as well as on the readme.io and so on. So we finished SDK documentation review, and the wallet lib documentation is in the progress right now. Yeah, I wanted to show you some demo about the things that we did in the pooling when we was pulling changes from V23. Yeah, 1 second. Yeah, I prepared a little test which just shows us some structure and ensure the balances. We'll need some time to synchronize with the network.
Should we cross our fingers?
What?
I'm keeping my fingers always crossed.
Yeah.
Was the finger crossing enough?
It's funny that the labs behind you like a preloader.
Yeah, it will take some time because it works against the real against the network, against the testnet. Yeah, we can see the first test returned us the timestamps, which is inside the get transaction history, which is now in the format, in the correct format. Now it tries to register an identity. Oops, it failed. So
Got
yeah.
across the fingers.
Yeah, I think it failed via our retrieving when we were retrieving the registered identities, but probably haven't picked up. Yeah.
Okay, well, next time.
Yeah. Time it will. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Mikhail, for the preparation. Thanks. All right. Shall I share it again? And we move on. And thanks, Mikhail, with the update as well. And shall we move on with Ivan and the protocol team?
Hello, my name is Ivan. I'm a principal developer in the Dashcore group. And today we talk about the protocol team work during the sprint. And our goal was to integrate platform, the 22 version, which is stable, with the latest Dashcore 18, which is releasing pretty soon, and now is going to testnet. It was an interesting journey, and there are some incompatibilities in RPC calls and in our library, which supports the core protocol to improve. And thank you for support from other teams. I hope our work made some improvements for core as well. And I just, so we don't have still like confirmation that it's like totally fine and works completely. But I just got some news that our latest iteration, what we deployed on a new DevNet, is working. So blocks are processing, and I hope it's the end. So I hope like tomorrow we'll accomplish this, at least one this week, and other tests that we have for that. So it's super close. Javid, would you like to continue?
Sure. Hello, everyone. I will give you a quick update on our progress on integrating TenderDash V8, like V0.8 actually. So this time we are closer to finalizing the work. We've managed to bypass setup and start process of the local network. However, half of the tests are passing, and we stuck on a small error processing while TenderDash guys were backporting the changes. We missed one small change we need to introduce to make platform work again. So we're now working on this, and hopefully this is the last thing to fix. And after that, we'll just finalize the whole thing. And that's basically it. Ivan, should I pass it to you?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Javid. I really love our optimism, guys. It's the last thing. Probably tomorrow will be fixed. Okay, so the second thing that what we worked on is the continuation of our implementation of the new fee system. Comparing with the previous solution, where we just calculated the size of state transition to figure out the fee, which is not optimal for sure, right? Because there are some complications. And these new solutions where we counting the actual operations, which is like time-consuming operations, what we are performing during the state transition execution. We implemented the introduction of the special context for the state transition execution, so we can, during the whole process, in all our code, we can store and collect these operations. That was the first part, and it was implemented mostly like when we're talking about GPP and GS drive. And the second task is when we have this execution context, we can actually add these operations from our storage functions and methods and collect them. And the third task, when we have all these operations aligned to state transitions, we can actually calculate the fee using the new calculation formula. So I have a small demo.
Before you get in, before you get into that, I think that can I add something really quickly?
Yeah, sure.
Just for people that have been watching us for the last few weeks, and remember, like I made a video on fee calculation. There were two parts to the fee calculation. There was the storage part, and then there was the validation part. The storage part happening in RS Drive and Grove DB, and then there's the validation part happening in JS Drive. The naming is a little bit confusing, but at a higher level, the validation part happening. So when we had kind of like half of the equation done before, and now we're the second part of the fees work was on the validation part. So
yeah, but actually it's not the end, and there are still some work required that I will talk about it a bit later. So I already started my local network, and sorry, what's that? Yeah, no. So we can see the drive processing the blocks, and now we're starting you remember last time we presented the benchmark tool when we actually figure out these operations, what we're counting. And now I'm running the same tool, which sending state transitions to the network, and we're getting the statistic back right from the drive logs. It will take a little time.
Oh, the little cat moving across the screen is cute.
Yeah, love it too. Okay, excellent. So probably you remember these numbers already. It's just some performance benchmark, like how the different parts of the state transition execution process looks like and how much time it takes. And here we can see the actually fees, which was calculated for the first state transition, what we sent. So you can see that we have the storage fee, which goes like to the master nodes to compensate the storage expenses. Also, we have the processing fees. It's basically the CPU and IO which required to process the transition. And the final fee after the applying the fee calculation formula, which includes some additional parameters like user type and modifier, which can be updated by the network. But I think we will talk about it in details later. And you may see the operations, what we collected. You may see that we doing the read from storage, one more, and pre-calculated one. It goes from the RS drive, which already pre-calculated the cost for us, and one more read and one more pre-calculated. And summarizing these operations, we have these numbers. I would like to emphasize that the numbers right now here is not final, and our goal for the next sprint is to adjust them. So we are going to play in these rates and to figure out that the right factors. Also, you may see something like 0 and 0. It's not correct as well, and just because not all parts of our system still covered. and that's what we're gonna do the next sprint as well to accomplish the whole system. So that's our plan, but the new fee system is already in Drive, it applies, and these fees are deducting from identity balance, yeah, and replace the previous solution. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'll pass it on to Kostya.
Yeah, thank you, Balázs. Hi, everyone. My name is Konstantin, and I work on the platform as well. Let me tell you a few words about our complete identities goal. So the first thing, introduce BIP13 script hash identity public key. As you probably know, masternode owners will be able to specify payout scripts for reward withdrawals. And to handle masternode pay to script hash payout scripts, we added an additional type of public key. We call it BIP13 script hash because it was introduced in BIP13. Yeah. The next one, withdrawal purpose allowed security level must be only critical. So it was just a bug. We just used another security level before. Create withdrawal keys for masternode owners and operators. As I said before, masternode owners can specify payout script to allow masternodes and operators to withdraw layer 2 rewards. Now we add these keys with purpose withdrawal to identities. And these keys are the same that they use to receive layer 1 rewards, to be more clear. And the last one, identity master key should be used only to update identity. Because of the security considerations, the master key should be used only for updating and disabling identity, and for signing other state transitions, we need to use another key with another security level. We call it high. Yeah, and because of that, we just added another validation for identity master keys. I think that's it from my side.
All right, thank you very
Kostya.
much. Thank you, Kostya.
Seems like we made a mistake. Actually, the third one is done, but but the last one in progress.
Oh yeah.
That's probably my bad. I'm sorry.
All right, thank you. And I'll pass it to Maciek.
Yeah, so let me just comment it briefly. I wanted to let you guys know that something like this is going on, because there were some discussions on the community side of bringing HTTPS support in DAPI, and yeah, fortunately we came to some kind of an agreement that yeah, the community will help us to build that feature within DAPI, and we're in the middle of agreeing on the specs on how technically to build that with the toolset that is currently being used in platform, meaning in particular Dashmate tool, and yeah, we are let's say after the first round of feedback of the, let's say, development team outside of the CG that will be building that, and yeah, hopefully the whole development process will start really soon. But there are very good signs for that, and yeah, just wanted to bring this up.
Thank
because
you.
like yeah, also we are assuming at some point that probably we won't have it with our MVP, but yeah, most probably it will be even before MVP. So that means that yeah, having an interface, HTTPS interface like that with MVP, like like leaves the whole platform in a totally different position. I mean, better position. And yeah, so we have came to the moment of bringing some highlights on the next plans for several teams. So as I've been saying at the beginning, this whole integration process of platform with core version 0.18 has provoked a bit switch in the priorities. So that means that what we've been planning right now will be the top prio for upcoming 2 weeks, meaning the fee system finalization. And this is something that the protocol team will be on. Regarding SDK, as we managed to identify and validate a particular set of bug reports reported by the community, just a natural step forward will be to fix those that have been validated as still being there, and continue with improving the documentation. Like, we all know that specs for platform in general were a bit outdated in several areas, and while we are on it, we would like to continue with that, so to bring good developers experience, and this is a good timing for that. So yeah, this will be one of the main goals for the SDK team. Yeah, in terms of our storage team, continuation of batching and strictly related to what Evgeny was explaining, and for TenderDash, yeah, backport of the ABCI++. So we were planning to get the code changes from upstream and incorporate it in platform, so that to make our consensus engine better. And yeah, we are slowly getting to the position of designing the withdrawal transitions, meaning transactions that provide a identity user to just get back to Dash from the credit that is stored on his platform balance. This is not that really trivial functionality, but we're there to just start the design phase. And yeah, that's all I wanted to share regarding the next steps. I guess that we are approaching the question time.
Yes.
I'll add one thing right before, because I'm sure it's going to come up as a question.
All right, please go ahead.
Yes, it's actually been asked multiple times in the last few weeks, is what's left? What do we need to really do? So, V23 had 2 main components for a platform, V23. It has the fee system and it has the withdrawals. And Maciek just covered the withdrawals. The withdrawals are kind of in multiple subsections. So over the next, once we're done with the fee system, we'll be starting to talk about withdrawals a lot more. And the way it kind of will work is there's the fees will be distributed into pools. And then the Masternode rewards will be taken from these pools. And then there'll be withdrawal transitions from your identity, which can be your Masternode identity that could hold fees. And yeah, so that's the main second part of V23. And I'm just telling that in advance because there's probably going to be a question about when Evo or so yes. And then there's one last big thing that we also have to do that we have to talk about is the with the changes that we saw in TenderDash with ABCI++, that will also require work on the other side in protocol team to make changes to interface well with TenderDash. So there we go. Just wanted to add that. Let's move on to questions.
Yeah, thank you very much. So we have two questions, basically. When we will be caught up on Tendermint and Bitcoin backports? Maybe this is the question for you, Sam.
Sure. So for Tendermint, we have not been really behind in any part. In fact, generally what you do when you do backports is you wait for a release from upstream and then you backport. In the sense of ABCI++, there hasn't even been a release yet. So we're basically backporting stuff as they're writing it, or close to as they're writing it. So I would say that that's pretty much as close as you're going to get ever. So I would say that's caught up. It's just that the upstream hasn't finished a critical feature that we want. Now, the real question is that some people might be asking, well, what would we have done if a platform had been, let's say, more on time? What would we have done because that feature didn't exist? Well, we had a different way that we were going to deal with it, where we were going to basically write it ourselves. What we decided to do was to focus on other areas. And because as we saw this feature coming out in Tendermint, we were like, okay, well, we don't need to write it and them write it at the same time. Let's let them write it and we get it kind of for free, or, with much less effort, if that makes sense. So that's pretty much, we're pretty much caught up on the Tendermint side of things. I mean, it's always going to be more backports, but yeah. And then in Bitcoin, well, that's hard to say. I'd have to talk with the core team. I would estimate sometime towards the end of the year, but I'm kind of pulling that out of somewhere that doesn't shine, where the sun doesn't shine. I would need to verify stronger, just make sure with them that I'm not saying something ridiculous. But I would believe that we probably finish and finish backports this year. I know that they've made tremendous progress. And if not this year, then it would be early next year.
All right, thank you. The next question is from James Doe. I might need a little help with that. Will Dash platform also have notification alerts? And what sound will it have? Maybe I'm missing the joke.
Funny. No, I mean, what sound will it have? No matter what, you can, depending on your platform, if you're on Google or if you're on iOS, I think you're allowed to configure I believe that you can change the sounds yourself, but yeah, we can put in sound specific that we want. Yeah, if I remember correctly, you can actually on iOS, you can do specific sounds. James Doe, if you want a specific sound on your device, I'll that says moon.
We figure out some hack.
Yes, just for you. No, I would imagine it's going to be a normal sound, normal notification sound. Will Dash platform have notifications? So there are two main ways to do notifications. There are push notifications and there are pull notifications. So push notifications require a centralized push server notification system. And it's actually a very interesting question. I'm not sure if you realized when you asked it, but it's very hard to make a centralized push server notification system on a decentralized network. It's actually impossible if you think about it, because those are mutually exclusive. What we can do is we can create our wallets, the iOS and Android wallets are made by Dash Core Group. For them, we can have a centralized push server notification system if people subscribe to it. However, no, we're not going to have this for mainnet release, most likely, because that is an extra feature. It's more likely going to be a pull system, which means that very often the phone will just connect to the network and check to see if you have any new information. And if it does, then from the phone itself, it will probably do a pop-up. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, thank you very much. When evil? Oh, before that, Sam is king.
Oh, thank you. My crown. When Evo. So basically, as I said, we have like we have to finish the fees. Then we have the withdrawal transactions, transitions. When that is done, we'll be done with V23. When V23 is done, then we have a 2-month of testing. We can't skip on that 2 months of testing. We really, really need it just to make sure that there's no, I'm going to spend that time trying to destroy the project that I helped build. I think everybody else here will too. It's going to be like hammer time. Kostya, are you looking forward to hammer time?
Sure.
Yeah, so basically we're going to try to destroy our own system as best we can. We also have security audits. None that should be around that time. There are proposals for them right now. And we at that point, at the end of those 2 months, very hopefully will only be 2 months, we will submit a release actually, because the first one is the release candidate. Then we submit the release, and that should be bundled with V19 of core that should come around the same time. That will be submitted to the network, and the network will need to activate V19 of core, which will in turn activate platform.
Thank you very much. Master 2 just wrote us that he was joking, but thanks for asking the question anyways. And thanks for answering. So the next question is, who is going to be marketing Dash platform? I don't know if we can answer this in the platform review, but if you want to have a comment on that, Sam.
Sure. So there's actually a few things to add here. Currently in DCG, we have nobody currently employed for marketing as of right now. Now, one thing that I'm working on is, so there are 2 parts to marketing there that we can think of. There's marketing to users and there's marketing to developers. I'm going to focus right now on marketing to developers, which we really haven't done that much in the past. For marketing to developers, some of my goals are to make websites for multiple of our products including GroveDB, TenderDash, and Platform. This requires also kind of a naming strategy that we can figure out. Probably rename Platform and maybe even TenderDash, you know, get out a strategy with websites, with good animations, easy tutorials to use the products, so we can get in developers and get people excited. Right now, we're open. You know, it's an open source project, but few people actually know of the benefits of these products that we're launching. It's also kind of interesting if other projects were to start using TenderDash or GroveDB, because we could start having an ecosystem of multiple teams, but all contributing to this source code, and that would alleviate a lot of burden just from having one team maintain it. So that's kind of like the developer side of the marketing coin, and it is probably something that I'm going to focus on more because it speaks more to me. We also are going to need the other side, which is kind of user marketing, and it's more going to be user marketing around Dash Pay instead of Platform, and that will require more talks. I don't want to make any commitments right now on this call, so you know, it's ongoing discussions right now on how we proceed there. I hope that answers your question.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. I think we ran out of questions. So I would like to thank everybody in this call and everyone who watched us and asking questions, giving feedback. Thanks everybody for participating in this review, and see you in 2 weeks. Bye-bye.
Hi guys. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.